Hi, good evening. I am doing my presentation tonight on school and the public library collaboration and cooperation. And one of the things I guess I wanted to start with is basically why? Why would you do this? Who actually has the time to be able to do this? Well, certainly there are challenges, and time is extremely difficult to find, especially when you're just taking classes, you're just learning how to work in the library and all the nuances of it. And so that certainly can be a challenge. The other two are not nearly as easy to understand for me as the time aspect of it. That being having no interest, of course, for some who are not as comfortable with technology, I've noticed older adults feel a little bit threatened and want to appear as though they know 100% what they're doing all the time. And that would be wonderful, but sometimes we learn from some of our best mistakes, but not everybody is as comfortable with that. Finally, there's the element of support. Not everyone has support by their administration or their bosses for them to be able to work with others and to have that time off to do the collaboration or to have somebody else come into their environment. So all three of those combined, we truly have to look at how can we actually make collaboration happen between the school and the public library. Well, ultimately, I believe that you can't overstress the power of collaboration and community. In the education world, the school library is a collaborative element in the school. We have people coming here all the time. Yet we, as librarians, often isolate ourselves from the resources, the people, and the ideas outside of our school or our school library groups. It's so easy to just get caught up where you're at because that can be so time consuming and there's so much you want to do, and then step out and start working with others. And that certainly does involve even more time to be able to make that happen. So of course, again, why? Why would this be a positive? Well, certainly with the budgets, it's a nice possibility to be able to share the costs. If both libraries are coming together to put on a program, it's nice to divide the costs. That works a lot better. Certainly, even in terms of purchasing materials in general, if you have the opportunity to send kids one direction or the other, to access those materials, it's helpful. Space. In schools, often there's a smaller space to be able to work with. And so it'd be nice to go to a larger space to spread out and do some other types of activities. Time is a concern. However, it can be an element of just putting together things twice as fast, having people be able to both work on it. Certainly hours come into play. Our school library is not open at night or on weekends or in the summers. And so I've even had kids tell me that when they're working on research papers, will drive to the library and it'll be after their sports, after work perhaps, and they will sit in the parking lot just so that they can get Wi-Fi. Because the library is not open, but at least it does still have Wi-Fi available and it reaches their vehicles while they can work on their laptops. Staffing, sometimes it's just one person. And if you could have two people come together, that's twice as much help that kids have and twice as many ideas. With two different places, there's a variety of materials available and a variety of ages of people to be able to experience. One of our schools puts together a daycare, and having the little kids actually be on the premises for the kids to practice, for our students to practice telling stories to or to work with them would be such a nice opportunity. And there's certainly a lot of ways to make this happen. We started off and we've just made it to the basic elements of collaboration, but we started off just having them come in and meet our kids. a day that our students could meet the librarians. They've gotten their library cards when they were little, but they haven't always continued to go there. They, like adults, get wrapped up in all of the things that happen at the school that they're at and don't always have the opportunity to extend beyond. So we had Stephanie from the Campbellsport Public Library come in, and she brought candy and applications, and they sat in the room for about an hour and a half and met kids and had them fill out library cards. And we had 28 people who ended up applying for library cards. And again, these are kids who probably got them or didn't get them when they were little, when they went in grade school. Quite easily, we've been able to do the interlibrary loans, and our public library has been outstanding helping our kids get books. We have a teacher who has a movie project, and it's a partnership, and each kid has to have the same book. Well, in the public school, we're encouraged, told, however you want to look at that basically we purchase one book. It's tough to know which books each year these kids are going to select, so I don't have duplicates of everything. We make it happen by visiting the elementary school, that they can just run on over there even in high school, and we take classes so that they can check out materials. Ways to make it happen in terms of just promoting the summer reading, our AP classes, the additional books the kids need to check out. The public library has different databases than we do. They have more databases, and so it's nice to have that available. The teacher library cards so that they can get more materials. There are computer labs for our students there, or more computer opportunities and different computer opportunities, whether it's MacBook or a PC. They can have study groups there, not just ACT, but any study group with homework help, book clubs, theme nights for different events that are going on or what might be popular coming out, writing workshops, speakers coming in, experts, book tasting, all those creative type of events that they could put together, the teen advisory board that we've talked about in class, and then certainly all the creative type things like putting together a breakout session or a mystery challenge, solve the murder, and then they're reading a mystery book. There are art shows that could also be extended there with STEAM and STEM projects, not just for the little preschool kids, but let's get into the robots. Let's get into the green screen opportunities where kids can stay not just for their class period, but for hours and work on in a soundproof room recording their music or for a story. And then as we talked about in class, the little kids reading to a dog, perhaps, just so they can get comfortable reading. There's so many possibilities. Two kind of cool things out of the many stories that I read about happened to be one theme opportunity that was done with Twilight with a Family Feud element where the teens did a competition and there were prizes that were done. One was actually a Twilight messenger bag that the librarians had created. They'd made for the winning team, and that was apparently talked about for months after. They had this horror theme with the 1950s drive-in where they put together cars, and again, these are teens versus preschool, but they put together cars and they sat in the cars and they watched these horror flick snippets that the librarians had put together, and they had popcorn and again the prizes. This past week I went to the UMedia Center in the library in Chicago and was able to see their STEAM projects. And while I was there, a school did come through, and it was really fascinating to watch how some were working on sewing projects, some were working on a train set that they put together, some were in the soundproof roof, some were gaming, but they were all working together. And then at the end, because we were going through and doing a tour, I heard the kids talking about how they were coming back so that they could continue to work on their projects. But at this point, they had to take off and head back to school. It was fascinating and I loved it. So let's do this. I mean, when we all collaborate, we all win, we all feel supported, and our youth receive the best from us. With increasing student achievement expectations and decreasing finance and personnel, both in schools and public libraries, it's more important than ever to connect and collaborate. Once those connections have been formed, then youth will have the best possible chance to excel and thrive in today's and tomorrow's world. Let's do this.